All new here at 10 o'clock, a new ordinance in Greenville County will prohibit trespassing and loitering at the detention center. It was brought to the table after complaints about several people staying in the lobby for hours. Now, it was voted on by the county council tonight.
Fox Carolina's Kennedy Harris was there. And Kennedy, you mentioned to us some people felt there was a better way to address the problem. What does that look like?
Yeah, the assumption is that many of the people hanging out in the lobby are homeless or just people with nowhere to go. It's a public building, and before this ordinance, there was no law against them being there, so they're allowed to stay. But a local activist says the issue falls hand in hand with the homelessness crisis in the city.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
It might be a jail, but for some, it's a safe haven.
So it's one thing to put restrictions on them. I get it, I understand it, but let's also find a way to make sure that we can help them.
After complaints from the detention center about several people hanging out in the lobby for long periods of time, Councilman LYNN Ballard says something needs to be done.
It's causing problems in the lobby with too many people in there, for one thing. Secondly, I guess there's been some problems in the restrooms and whatever with the cleanliness.
The ordinance will allow the facility to place time limits on how long a person can be inside. Violators could face a $500 fine, but leaders believe most of the people just don't have anywhere else to go.
This time of year it's cool, in the wintertime it's warm, it's relatively safe. You're in the law enforcement center.
That's exactly why activist Bruce Wilson asked council to consider what this measure might do.
We saw a couple of weeks ago the homeless population getting beat up and jumped on in a camp. But here we are passing an ordinance.
Council passed the ordinance unanimously. Ballard says it fills a gap in the law, and he believes it's the best solution at the time.
Particularly when nothing exists now.
Wilson is now planning to help those who might feel put out by this passage.
What we're going to do after it's passed to make sure that the individuals, especially the homeless population, does not get trapped in this ordinance or the ordinance get used against them.
And also, another activist who originally spoke out against the ordinance did come back to council today. He said he was now in favor after seeing the dirty conditions of the detention center lobby. Tonight was the second reading of the ordinance. Once it's brought up for the third and final reading, it'll be signed into law.